Hey guys, Tony here. Good morning. I did want to provide an update on BTC. I actually thought we were going to dump all the way down to at least 30K once we had this cross on the 30-minute charts towards the downside. We actually really only crossed, we barely crossed it at 5:30 in the morning. So I actually expected this to be crossed like at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, but it took a little bit longer to cross. We actually crossed it only at 5:30 in the morning. I'm still expecting Bitcoin to drop back down again. I do think that there's a chance that we might go all the way back down to 33K. But as of right now, to be completely honest, the 30-minute and the 1 hour are still looking pretty bearish, right? So I do think as far as like shorter time frame, there is a strong chance that we do still go down to 33K and then possibly down to 30K. 100%. We haven't even made that little green bubble on the reverse MACD yet. Last time we actually created that perfect sell-off is when we dropped a couple of days back from that 41K down to 33K, right? So we are creating another perfect sell-off, but again, that green bubble on the MACD never got created, and we are actually retesting tops. We're actually testing this perfect. This is going to be a perfect retest of the 50 MA and this 38K price point right here. So if I was gonna be shorting, I would probably add to my shorts here. I think I probably will add to my shorts short term because I don't know exactly where we're actually headed as of right now. On the 4 hour, we actually just created a super like around 1 in the morning. We created a very bullish move towards the upside. Last time this happened, we rallied from lows of 35K all the way up to 41K. So we can possibly do that again. We can possibly go back to these tops of maybe like 42K, 40K or so, around this level right here, right? Generally around that level. On the day chart though, so on the day chart, if we do end up being bullish, we can definitely hit like a super significant ride to the upside, 100%. Like this essentially would be a perfect buy opportunity right now, 100%. So on the day chart, you guys see that red bubble get created on the reverse MACD, and then we do have the tops that were the bottoms that were created on the stochastic down here. So last time this happened, we actually went from lows of like 48K to highs of roughly like 58K. So we went up around $10,000. We're basically on that exact same buildup right now. MACD is basically telling me if you have shorts, sell, and we already created those bottoms in the stochastic, right? Take note that blue line over the red on the stochastic is looking like it's wanting to turn more to the downside, but we don't know. So in theory, after this got created right here from lows of 35, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually rally all the way back up to 45K from the daily chart. But again, I think that's the only chart that's actually bullish. Everything else is completely 100% bearish. Again, I'm really only basing everything off of the, give me a second. All right. I'm really only basing every single analysis that I have on BTC going down to like previous lows of 17, 20K off the monthly chart. This is it. I'm still bearish. I still think there's a very strong chance that we see these lows of like 26K, possibly 20K, 17K, right? Because we just made this. We just made that bearish cross on the reverse MACD, and we're in clear tops. And again, this has only ever happened when we've seen price keep dumping and when we've seen these corrections. Like again, this happened in September 2019. It happened again on February 2018. And that's when we had these two reversals, right? We had the reverse from like 13, 14K down to what? Down to 4,000. And then we had these tops of like 20K down to like 3,200. And again, when we crossed, we had the tops of, when we had these tops, right? From like 700 to 300. So these have all been pretty significant drops, right? And so far, here, I'll show you guys, I'll give you guys an example, right? I don't need that. You know, so far from peak, the lowest that we've gone in 1 month is about a 50% drop, which is sort of similar to what happened back in July 31st of 2016, right? But every other drop has been either a 70% or 83% correction. So around, maybe that's, we can say, we can judge kind of like a 75% correction. So I think maybe at the lowest point, if we see a 75% correction, 75% is right here. So I think at our peak, if we do, if we do a, like, what's an average of 83 and 71? I'd say like 75, right? Maybe. So I'd say that at our lowest point, like I said, 16,000. You guys can clearly see the 16,000 right there, right? But I do think that our lowest point would probably be somewhere around this area. I think a better understanding of this would probably be closer to 20K, just because it's more of a psych level. It's more of it's a better understanding of these previous tops right here of 2017. So I think 20K would be more appropriate of an actual low, as opposed to like an exact number of like 16,983, whatever it was. But I do think that this correction is probably going to be a 70% correction instead of the 50% that we've had right now, right? But again, we can definitely this can definitely have been the low, and then we basically rally from here, right? I'm not saying that can happen, but I am saying that I am personally still bearish. I still think that Bitcoin can drop another 20 or 20K, 30, like another 10K from these previous lows that we've had. Because I mean, every single time we've had these drops, they've gone down in 365 days, 273 days. I think the shortest one that we had was a 61-day drop, which was a 40% drop, right? Back in 2016. But I do think that we haven't seen the actual low yet. We created this low, and I do think we're going to go back down and at least retest that low before actually figuring out what's going to happen next. But yeah, as of right now, again, month chart is bearish. Week chart is bearish. The day chart is the only chart that's actually bullish. The 4-hour chart is relatively bullish. And I think if we do hit peaks, I think the highest we would possibly go to previous peaks would probably be somewhere around like $42,000, I think. And then we would drop again, right? But again, the hour, the hour looks like we're about to break again to the downside. Look at that. We're about to create that green bubble on the hour. So 7 o'clock a.m., I think in the next hour, we might see a pretty big move to the downside. And I think that would be the indication and the start of us actually, doing something lower. As you can see, when we started creating these weaker bull signals, we actually started trading sideways, right? We didn't trade down, but we started trading sideways. It means it doesn't want to break that 50 MA, and it doesn't want to break that 38K resistance. So I think I might be adding to my shorts right now again, because I do think there's a strong chance that we might go all the way back down to 33,000 sometime today. 30-minute, we actually broke down. We actually just crossed the bearish again, but we're just trading sideways. We didn't go down. We're just trading sideways. I think the right now the important one is going to be the hour. So I think we need to figure out how exactly this push down is going to be once it gets created, because I do think it's going to get created between 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock a.m. PST. But again, I'm still completely bearish. I still think we're going down. Every single chart is bearish, as opposed to like maybe the 4-hour and as opposed to the 4-hour and I think the day chart. But everything else is completely bearish. So again, I'm basing everything that I have on the monthly chart, and I still think we have a long way to go. I think there's a strong chance that we probably drop all the way back down to 30K to at least retest it. And again, worst case scenario, but what I think is still probable is that we still drop to 20K, because we have so much room to go down. Our stochastic is still way up here, and we literally just crossed on the stochastic back in like late April. So we have so much room to go down right now. Like we have so much room to move down. Halfway though on the week chart, if we do bounce, what happened last time that we bounced here? So I do think if just looking at the Stoke, I do think that there's a solid chance that we might see, if we do create lows, I think, let me see, how relevant is this? Yeah, we're right at that level. So I do think if we bounce, we have to bounce from here and then we move upwards. But I don't know, man. I do think that we're going to keep trailing down. I do think that we're going to keep trailing down for a little bit longer to at least retest those lows of 30K. So if you guys are looking to buy into, BTC long term, I strongly recommend you guys have your buy limits at around 30. I wouldn't even say 30,000 just because I think that 30,000 is going to be too of a precise number. So I would suggest that you guys add your buy limits at like 31,000, because from 31K all the way to previous highs of like 64, that's still a full 100% gain from these lows right here back to here. But yeah, I like I said, still bearish, still 100% bearish. There's no reason for me to be bullish right now. I think right now we have to gauge to see how well we actually how well price responds to this retest of this previous resistance of like 38K and this 50 MA touch, right? So we have to really see right now. I would only be looking for sells right now, 100%. I think right now I probably will add on to my short and then kind of go from there. But yeah, I still think we're gonna go lower. That previous push down didn't happen, and it was actually later than I expected. I thought it was gonna be at 2 a.m, but it actually just crossed like 2 hours ago. So if the move happens, it's barely gonna happen right now. Yeah, and I do think today there's a really, really, really strong chance that we go back to 33K, to be completely honest. That it just looks that way. I think the push down is going to probably be somewhere around either, I think minimum we drop down to 35K, and at most we might see $33,000, to be honest. But yeah, I think that's probably what's going to happen today. Yeah, I guess that's it. So I'll see you guys later.